Now we have competency 2. This is the introduction. So this is where your parts of your introduction are. You have your attention gaining material to start out with. You want to hook your audience. I know it looks like I'm doing a punch, but a hook. You want to hook your audience, and that may come in the form of a quick quote, a statistic, maybe a fact. You don't want to do information overload, but you might want to say, there are 50% of people who blah, 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 and that startling fact could hook your audience. So something that's attention gaining. A short story, very quick little story. You don't want to take a lot of time in the introduction. You want to be able to move on quickly to the next section, which is the body. So just keep it brief, everything brief in the competency 2 in the introduction, and just keep things moving. Keep it very clear and concise. Concision is your friend. And a rhetorical question might be something else that gets audiences involved. So how many of you, and then they can raise their hand or they can nod, and they can be thinking about what you're asking them. They might not actually respond, which you don't want to have a lot of banter because you won't have time, but you want to keep things moving. The next section is the thesis statement. So after you gain the audience's attention, then you want to have a statement that focuses on the purpose of the speech. So you want to avoid things like my topic is, avoid that, because you can just say what the topic is in the delivery of the thesis statement. So my attention gaining material might be, if my topic were on how to bake a red velvet cake, I might say, how many of you would like to know how to bake a red velvet cake? And then my thesis statement might be, baking a red velvet cake is important to college students. So just some sort of little brief statement. So learning how to bake a red velvet cake is important. Okay, so just have a little connection with your topic. And any topic really can be connected to the audience, and we'll talk about audience connection a little bit later on. But some quick little statement. The next part is your preview of points. So you want to list out your points. So now that you know the thesis statement and the focus of the topic, you'll want to list out those main points. So you'll have 3 main points. Okay. Point number 1, point number 2, and point number 3. And just keep them succinct. Don't have long, lengthy sentences. Just list them out in little categories. And if I were doing a presentation on the elements of baking a red velvet cake, then I would want to go ahead and just list those out, and this would obviously be a chronological or sequential order. So I would say, we will cover gathering ingredients, baking ingredients, and eating ingredients. No, I would probably start out with how to gather ingredients, how to mix ingredients, and how to bake ingredients. So those would be my 3 main points. And then that prepares the audience what to listen for. So you're giving them a map, little breadcrumbs to follow, so they know what to expect in the body of the presentation. And that keeps it nice and tidy and organized. And the main points are always informed by the thesis statement. Now I'm getting hungry thinking about red velvet cake. And then relevance. Why does your audience want to know? So make sure that it is centered on your audience. Presentations are always centered to them, because otherwise it's just a presentation for you, right? But because you're bringing an audience into it, it's about them. So what do they need to know and why? Okay, so if you're giving a presentation to a kindergarten audience, you would obviously shape your presentation differently than to a college level audience, right? And because in here, it's a college level audience, so there's certain expectations you have of the audience and certain needs that they might have. And there's common ground that you all have. Okay, you all share that experience of being college students. So ask yourself, why do they want to know, and what would really benefit that audience? Okay, so if I were using my red velvet cake example, I might say, college students might need a quick and easy snack in between classes that will give them a lot of sugar. So some sort of connection, so to draw that connection, okay? So all topics can be, and I know my red velvet cake example is a little bit silly, but just thinking about what you could do with your topic to connect to audience and have that statement in there so they know why they need to listen. Then you're going to transition into the body, and you can keep it very quick. You just bridge ideas, and you're going to do this in several places. The first one is in the introduction, and then the next one is in the body of the presentation, and then in the conclusion. So introduction, body, and conclusion all have these transitions. Okay, so transitioning into the body, that clearly connects. Okay, so you can just keep it simple. First, let us begin with how to gather ingredients. Let us first examine gathering ingredients for baking a red velvet cake. Let us start by, so very succinct and quick. Okay. And we will do the body and competency 3 in another video.